Hello guys, and welcome to my guide to building a character in Cyberpunk 2077. Making a right build can be very crucial to your gaming experience in this game, especially on very hard difficulties. Additionally, for new players, you might easily get confused with all the concepts of attributes, perks, skills, and so on. Now today we are going to go through some basics, and I will give you a few simple steps to follow to make sure a build is viable and works for your own playstyle. I will walk you through a build progression from level 1 through level 60 so that you can follow the same steps as you level up. This video is made after 2.0 update and Phantom Liberty DLC, so it will reflect all the major skill tree overhaul CD Projekt Red made throughout the recent years. Now with all this said, let's get started. Let's begin with some basics. There are 3 types of points in Cyberpunk 2077. Attribute will slowly increase one type of benefit as you level up, such as body for max health, or reflex for critical chance. If you click on each attribute, you will see a perk tree, and this tree will indicate the main weapon you will be using and your playstyle. Example being, do you like jumping into the heat of the battle straight away? Or do you prefer a more subtle and stealth approach? You cannot respect your attribute more than once, especially if you're playing on console and don't have access to PC mods, so you will want to choose the right attribute to max out as early as you can. That being said, you will get 81 attributes in total at max level. That means you can bring 3 attributes to level 20, which is the max, and have some more to spare in the other 2. But most of the players might be nowhere near level 60 by the time they finish the story. So the earlier we shape up the build, the better experience we will get. The perks, on the other hand, can be reset as many times as you want. And there are some perks that are essential for almost all builds, so you should always have them regardless of your playstyle. Example being the painkiller in body tree that gives you health regen. This will boost your survivability. Another example being dash in the reflex tree. This is not only useful for combat maneuver, but also for traversing within Night City. Now, if we go back to attribute menu and click on the skill progression button, you will see 5 different types of skills. They will reward you with different benefits as you rank them up, such as more health, carrying capacity, and damage reduction. Most importantly, at level 15 and level 35, you will gain 1 additional perk points for each of the skills. So making sure to keep leveling these skills will also give you a boost. I have another video explaining how to rank them up more efficiently. Please be sure to check it out. And finally, let's talk about Cyberware. Instead of clothing, Cyberware is your primary source to get armor, which gives you damage reduction. Clothing in Cyberpunk 2077 is mostly for cosmetic purpose. And among these Cyberwares, the operating system will dictate your playstyle. If you want to use more powerful Cyberware, such as Berserk, and get into close combat, you won't have access to quick hack slots that allow you to take down enemies by hacking into their system from afar. So you can use your favorite operating system Cyberware to decide how to allocate your attribute as well. Okay, that's all the basics out of the way. Now, here's my suggestion of steps to follow when you build your character. First step, unlock the levels of attributes and perks are mandatory for all builds. That includes painkiller in body, dash in reflex, and I even suggest air dash for all the builds. Secondly, think about what weapon you want to use most of the time, and look for the perk tree that reinforces this weapon, and that attribute will be the one you want to max out first. Example being body for hammer and shotguns, core for pistols and sniper rifles, intelligence for smart weapons, and etc. And thirdly, choose a primary playstyle, either as a brute jumping into the heat of the battle, or as a ninja that uses stealth to achieve their goal. That doesn't mean you can only use one or the other during your playthrough, but you do want to have one that you excel in. And that will indicate either you want to invest more in body and technical ability, or in core and intelligence. And finally, step 4. Settle on the operating system type for your Cyberware. If you want to be a netrunner and use quick hack for the most of the time, completely OP by the way, you will certainly need to max out intelligence. Otherwise, depending on your main weapon, you might not need any intelligence at all. Now with all these theories, let's actually try to make a build. Let me just reset my points here. Now all the attributes start from 3, but you actually have 7 additional points to allocate during character creation. So here is where we want to think about what kind of build we want. Now first of all, we do need 1 level in the body, so that we can unlock the painkiller early on. And I want to make a build that use katana, which will need reflex tree. So in that case, I will put additional 4 points into reflex. Another 2 points will be put into technical ability because I want to use St. Devastan as my Cyberware operating system, which require huge Cyberware capacity. So to be able to unlock Edge Runner at the end is my goal. And I want to put in 1 additional points into intelligence. With the playstyle I have in my mind, I don't need intelligence at all. However, early in the game, we do need to occasionally do some hacking, and we don't have access to St. Devastan straight away, so to be able to have access to lower perks will help a lot in early games. So that's a good attribute points allocation as a new character. From here, let's actually start leveling. From level 1 to 10, I want to put 5 levels into reflex and 5 levels into technical abilities. This will mean we bring technical abilities to 9. And reflex to 12. For the perks, we want to immediately unlock painkiller. That gives us health regen. And in the reflex, we want to allocate slippery and unlock dash. On the other side, we want to start to unlock the perks for katanas, so 2 points into lead and steal. For technical abilities, we can put 2 levels into all things Cyber. This will reduce the Cyberware capacity cost. And 1 level into Lucky Day. This gives us more component from looting. The early we unlock this, the more benefit we will get. And we also want to unlock Renaissance Punk, because we already have reflex and technical ability at level 9, so we will have additional 4 Cyberware capacity because of this. So here is the first 10 level. This is a good time to visit the Riptalk for the first time.
Was thinking about swapping some chrome. You got any new toys?
So there are some Cyberwares early on in the game that is useful straight away. Example being on the legs, we want to use reinforced tendons, it will unlock double jump. And in tegumentary systems, we can use subdermal armor, this will give us some initial armors. At the beginning, you wouldn't have access to many different operating systems, so you can just throw in an early Cyber deck that you can find. For the skeletons, you have a few choices. You can either use Dance Marrow, which is a really good Cyberware that we will be using until the end of the game. Alternatively, you can also use Epimorphic Skeleton. This will give us a huge health and armor boost. It is very good for leveling, and we can swap this out later in the game. In the circulatory systems, we want to use Blood Pumps. This will replace our health consumables, and again, this is something we will use until the end of the game. Okay, that's a good starting point for Cyberwares. Let's go back to our build. For level 10 to 20, we want to allocate 6 points to technical abilities. This will bring us to 15. And the rest of 4 points, give it to reflexes. This will also unlock the next layer of the perk tree. So for the perks, we immediately unlock Air Dash. And we can also start to unlock the Blade Finisher. And inside technical abilities, let's unlock License to Chrome. This will give us a new Cyberware slot for skeleton tree. And for the one additional perk, you are free to choose. Let's unlock driver update. This will give us an additional modifier for Cyberware. So from here, you should go into Phantom Liberty if you do have the DLC. You don't have to finish the entire story, only the first quest will unlock the relic tree for you. And immediately unlock vulnerability analytics. This will detect vulnerabilities on the enemy, so that means not only you can shoot for the head, you can also shoot for another body parts from the enemy. Now go back to our attribute. Next up is level 20 to 30. As you can see, we can increase reflex and technical ability both to level 20, and we will have one additional point to spare, which will give it to body. So 4 points in reflex. And 5 points in tech. Finally, 1 point in body. Now for the perks, let's start with reflex. Unlock tailwind, so that air dash doesn't cost stamina, and also slaughterhouse. We will also want to unlock flash and the thunderclap. This will make us finishing the enemy much easier, so unlock the necessary skills for flash and the thunderclap. Now in the technical tree, let's unlock edge runner, extended warranty, ambidextrous, chromy constitution, and chipware connoisseur. Now this perk is useful when you upgrade your cyberware. Once your cyberware is fully upgraded, you can refund this. From here is another good point to visit the doctor again.
Was thinking about swapping some chrome. You got any new toys?
On the operating system, we can finally get a Sandevistan. You can equip any early Sandevistan you can get in the game, but the Militech Apogee Sandevistan is the one you want to use to finish the build. Circulatory system. Let's use Adrenaline Booster and Micro Rotors. We want to fill out Integumentary system. There are a few you can choose from. In this case, I choose Optical Camo and Pain Editor, which will give us huge damage reduction and also a big chunk of armors. In the nerve system, the most important one is Stabber. This will give us a huge boost in critical chance with blades and throwable weapons. Other things you can choose from is Karen Zikov. This will also slow down time when we do the dash and aim, which is always good to have. For the third one, we can use Reflex Tuner. This will also slow down time when our health drops below 25%, so this can be a good indication that we should be using our health items. And on the skeletons, we can equip this now and put on Dense Marrow. The other two, I will choose Titanium Bones for carrying capacity and some armor. And Bionic Joints also for good amount of armor. For the arms, we can either use Gorilla Arms or Mantis Blades, which will both fit into our playstyle. In this case, I want to use Gorilla Arms. And finally, Frontal Cortex. The best one you can get is Axolotl. This will give a really big cooldown reduction for all cyberwares when we're neutralizing an enemy. If you don't have access to this, you can also use Newton Module, which is a good replacement. The other two doesn't really matter that much because we are using Karen Zikov. A Karen Zikov booster system is always helpful. And the other one, let's choose Mechatronic Core. And on the hands, there's nothing mandatory because we are not using smart weapons. However, Ballistic Coprocessor can be very useful to have. So that's the one we will be using. And this is a good loadout. Let's go back to our character to level up. And now we should be at level 30 and very late in the game as well. So from level 30 to 45, we can bring body all the way to 20. Now this is where we start to boost our survivability, because late in the game on our very hard difficulties, especially in Phantom Liberty, enemies can potentially one-shot you. So let's unlock Adrenaline Rush and Pain to Gain. In fact, we'll need all of the skills in this tree. So all of this will give us health regen bonus and additional health when Adrenaline Rush is activated. It has really good synergy with Blood Pump. Another 4 skills, let's put one in Cyborg. This will give us 15% reduced cooldown time if all Cyberware slots are filled. So that means we will go back to the Reaper Dog and make sure we equip something in all Cyberware slots. In the Reflex, let's continue level up the rest of the skills. At this moment, we should be at level 45, and we have 3 main attributes already at max level. So what we need to do next is to bring Intelligence and Cool both to level 9, so that they can both benefit from Renaissance Punk that give us additional Cyberware capacity when the attribute is at 9 or higher. So from level 45 to level 60, let's do just that. As you can see, we still have 3 attribute points to spare. We can either put them into Intelligence or to Core, because Core add critical damage, so that's where I'm going to put them in. Okay, now let's spend the rest of perk points. Now you can see I have 24, that's because I gained another 10 perk points from the skill progression from here. So you will have to spend some time to be able to get these additional benefits. Let's go back to Reflex, unlock all the rest of perk points. I'm not gonna use Multitasker because I'm still focusing on katanas more than pistols, and I don't feel skilled enough to be able to shoot while sprinting. So go back to Technical Ability, and there's a few more points we can invest here. Glutton for War, it will boost our recharge for Blood Pump, which synergizes with Adrenaline, and 2 levels of Health Freak. Transfusion, First Aid, Field Medic as well, and finally Borrowed Time. Now we still have 8 perks. Let's go to Cool, unlock Focus, and this will help us when we use pistols. In fact, all of the skills related to focus are all very good, so unlock all of them. And finally, 1 additional point in Feline Footwork. Now that's all the points allocated, the build is finished. The final build looks like this. On our weapons, the katana I choose Scalpel, and this synergize with Sandevistan. And our gun I will be using Pride, with a silencer and a scope attached. You can also use Her Majesty, which is a silence weapon as well, and it also synergizes with Optical Camo. Okay, that's the build finished. Let's bring the build into a real battle. Okay, let's travel to Dogtown and see if we can find a supply drop. Oh, there's just one over here. Let's see if we can clear them out very quickly. Use our optical camo. Just kill him silently. The guy, let's shoot him. Aim and dash, activate Karen Zikov. And there's another guy, use Stan Wiston. Dash again, currency off. Oh, there's another big guy. Let's use katana. Activate stun Waston. And here's another two. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Did I kill him? Probably not. Oh, he's gone now. Nope, she's still here. Okay, that's everyone died. I would say that's a pretty good build. I didn't even have to use Blood Pump to activate Adrenaline, and we have so many ways and means to slow down time, so the enemies didn't really stand a chance. Now there you have it. This is my approach to build a character in Cyberpunk 2077. I hope you find this video useful. If you liked the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing. Thanks for watching and see you next time.